Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures hiding in your pocket change and the coins that could make you thousands of dollars richer without you even realizing it. Today we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable modern coins out there. It's small, it's coppery, it's easy to overlook, and yet one example of this coin recently sold for a staggering $96,364. Yes, we are talking about the legendary 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny with the close AM variety. If you think pennies aren't worth collecting or they can't possibly bring you life-changing money, this video is going to completely change your mind. First, let's rewind a bit and go back in time. The year is 1992. Bill Clinton is running for president. The Mall of America just opened in Minnesota. Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit is still playing on the radio. And in the United States Mint, something strange is happening with the Lincoln penny. At first glance, it seems like business as usual. Millions of Lincoln cents are being struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The design is familiar. Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. But deep in the production process, an error is made that will go unnoticed by nearly everyone for years to come. Let's break it down. In 1992, the United States Mint was still using a design for the reverse of the penny that had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. But here's where it gets interesting. From 1988 to 1992, the Mint was preparing for a design transition. And in that process, a test reverse die was used on a small number of coins struck in 1992. These coins feature what collectors call a close AM reverse. That means the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin are very close together, nearly touching, instead of the more widely spaced, wide AM, which was standard for 1992. Now this might seem like a tiny detail. After all, who's really looking that closely at the spacing between letters on a penny? But in the world of numismatics, the tiniest details can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth thousands of dollars. That's exactly what happened here. The 1992 close AM penny is what's known as a transitional error. A small number of these coins were accidentally struck using a reverse design intended for use in later years, specifically starting in 1993. Because of this, the 1992 close AM pennies are extremely rare. And when I say rare, I mean very rare. Fewer than 20 examples are known to exist. That makes it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents in modern history. What makes the 1992 no-mint mark close AM penny even more desirable is that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark in that year. So when you look at the obverse and see no mint mark under the date, and then flip it over to discover the close AM reverse, you just might be holding onto a nearly priceless piece of modern coinage history. And it's not just a matter of theory or hype. This coin has actually sold for massive amounts of money. In fact, in a well-documented public auction, a 1992 no-mint mark close AM Lincoln penny sold for exactly $96,364. That's not a typo. That's the real, verified sale price. What makes this coin command such a high value? Let's break down the reasons. First, rarity. Fewer than 2 dozen are confirmed to exist. Second, demand. Lincoln cents are one of the most widely collected series in the world. There are millions of Lincoln penny collectors, and many of them are looking to complete every year, every mint mark, and every variety. That includes the elusive 1992 close AM. Third, the condition. If a 1992 close AM penny is found in high grade, we're talking mint state red, meaning full original luster and no wear, the price skyrockets. And fourth, it's part of a famous group of varieties. The close AM and wide AM reverses from 1992 through 2000 have fascinated collectors for years, with some variations being incredibly valuable and others more common but still collectible. The 1992 close AM from Philadelphia stands at the top of that mountain. Now let's talk about how to identify one. If you have a 1992 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that means it was made in Philadelphia. Take a close look at the reverse. You'll need a magnifying glass or a coin loop for this. Look at the word America, specifically the letters A and M. In most 1992 pennies, there's a noticeable gap between those two letters. But in the close AM version, they are nearly touching, so close that a hair couldn't fit between them. That's your clue. If the letters A and M are extremely close, you might be holding on to one of the rarest coins in circulation. What should you do if you think you found one? First, don't clean it. Never clean a coin. That can ruin the value. Second, put it in a safe holder, like a 2x2 coin flip or a plastic capsule. Third, contact a reputable coin grading company like Pennies or NGC. They can authenticate it and assign a grade, which is critical for determining its market value. And then you'll want to work with a professional auction house or coin dealer to sell it, or maybe just hold on to it as a once-in-a-lifetime find. Now let's look at the current market. As of this year, 2025, the top sale for a certified 1992 no mint mark close AM penny still stands at an incredible $96,364. But even lower grade examples, if confirmed genuine, can sell for thousands. That's why coin roll hunters and penny hoarders are still out there today searching through jars, drawers, bankrolls, and inherited collections, hoping to find just one of these hidden gems. It's the kind of treasure that makes you fall in love with coin collecting. That something so small and ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary. The next time you get change back at the store or dig into your piggy bank, take a second look at those pennies. Especially the ones from 1992. You never know. You might be holding the next $96,000 coin and not even realize it. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video interesting or helpful, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more coin collecting content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Drop a comment down below and let us know. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck searching for that elusive 1992 close AM Lincoln penny. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we uncover hidden treasures hiding in plain sight. If you've ever picked up a penny and tossed it aside thinking it was worthless, then you might want to think again. Because today we're talking about one specific penny that could make you over $85,000 richer, and chances are you might already have it in your pocket change. That's right, I'm talking about the 1984 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Let's dive deep into the history, the hidden value, and the shocking reason why this humble copper coin is selling for life-changing money. Main segment first, let's talk about the basics. The 1984 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally does not use a mint mark on its coins, so if you've got a penny from 1984 and it has no mint mark, that's completely normal. But here's where it gets interesting. While millions of these coins were produced, there's a very specific variety from that year that collectors are going absolutely wild for. This coin features a unique and highly valuable error known as a doubled die. In the world of coin collecting, a doubled die occurs when the die that strikes the coin is improperly manufactured, causing design elements to appear doubled. On the 1984 Lincoln penny, this doubling is most noticeable on President Lincoln's ear and also on the lettering of the word Liberty. That's what sets it apart from the rest, and that's what drives the insane value. Now you might be wondering how this even happened. Let's break it down. During the minting process, dies are used to imprint the design onto blank coin planchets. If a die receives two misaligned impressions from the hub, it results in what's known as a doubled die. This error then gets transferred onto every coin struck by that faulty die. That's exactly what happened in 1984, creating this rare and valuable variation. But not every 1984 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most are only worth face value. What you need to look for is very specific doubling around Lincoln's ear. It almost looks like he has a second ear just behind the first. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it's unmistakable. The lettering might also show signs of doubling, but the ear is the key feature. Let's talk about the composition of the coin for a moment. The 1984 penny is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. In earlier years, pennies were mostly solid copper, but by 1982, the US Mint switched to copper-plated zinc to save money. So while these pennies may feel like old-school coins, they're actually quite different under the surface. Now here comes the moment everyone's been waiting for. How much is this coin actually worth? In a recent auction in 1984, double die penny with no mint mark sold for a jaw-dropping $85,387. That's right over 85 grand for a 1-cent coin. But that's not just a fluke. Depending on the condition of the coin, values can range from a couple $100s in circulated condition to tens of thousands in mint state coins that are graded MS-65 and higher, especially those certified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC fetch the highest prices. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins with strong doubling and minimal wear. So if you've got one in pristine condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Let's pause for a second and think about that. How many pennies have you come across in your life? Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. And somewhere in that pile there could be a coin worth more than a brand new car. That's the magic of numismatics, and that's why coin hunting is such a rewarding hobby. Now you're probably asking, how can I find out if I have one? The best way is to get a good magnifying glass or coin loop and inspect any 1984 pennies you have, especially those without a mint mark. Focus in on Lincoln's year and look for signs of doubling. If you think you've found one, you can always send it to a professional grading service for authentication. It might cost a small fee, but if it turns out to be the real deal, it's well worth the investment. Closing segment. So there you have it. The 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that most people would ignore, but one that could be worth over $85,000. It's living proof that treasure is still out there. You just have to know where to look. The next time you get change back at the store, take a closer look. Because that 1-cent coin might just change your life. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins hidden in your pocket change, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're going to start checking your pennies a little more closely from now on. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about coins, cash, and collectibles worth way more than you ever imagined. Today we are diving deep into a small but mighty treasure from American coin history. I'm talking about the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. That's right. This little copper-colored coin that you might have lying around in a drawer, in your car, or hiding in your piggy bank could be worth a jaw-dropping $59,578. Let's get into why. First things first. Let's talk about the history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909 and was created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became an iconic part of American currency. But the 1981 penny is special. It was part of the last full year that the Lincoln cent was made entirely from 95% copper before switching to the mostly zinc composition that began in mid-1982. Now what makes the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny stand out? In general, pennies made in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark. That is normal and not an error. But certain 1981 no mint mark pennies can be worth serious money. And that is where this story gets interesting. Most people assume all 1981 no mint mark pennies are common. But that is not always true. There are several key things collectors look for in this coin. One of the biggest factors is the condition. Coins graded in mint state, especially those with a grade of MS-67 or higher, are incredibly rare. That's because pennies go through a lot of rough handling and scratches during circulation. Finding one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Especially one from 1981 that's over 40 years old, but that's not all. There's also a special type of 1981 Lincoln penny known as the Type II variety. These have sharper, more refined lettering in the design, especially in the word Liberty and the date. The Type II reverse was intended for proof coins, but some of these styles made their way into regular circulation coins in 1981. If you find a 1981 penny with that crisp, clean lettering, you could be holding something truly special. Now let's talk about that massive value. $59,578. That's not a typo. That's what one rare example of this coin sold for at auction. And why? Because it was a near-perfect specimen. It had a high mint state grade, 0 visible wear, and perfect strike quality. Collectors are always willing to pay top dollar for coins that are both rare and in excellent condition. And that's exactly what this one was. But even if your 1981 penny doesn't fetch $59,000, it could still be worth far more than face value. Even circulated examples in good shape can sell for a few dollars, and uncirculated ones can range from $20 up to several hundred depending on their grade and visual appeal. That's a huge return for something most people overlook, and here's something else to keep in mind. A lot of people don't know that grading plays such a huge role in a coin's value. So if you think you've got a good-looking 1981 penny with no mint mark, take it to a professional coin grader or a reputable dealer. You might be surprised at what they tell you. The current market is hot for rare and high-grade coins. Collectors are out there every day looking for these hidden gems, and the demand keeps driving prices up. There's more awareness than ever about rare coins, and the internet makes it easier to buy and sell. So if you've got a 1981 Lincoln penny or a whole jar full of old coins, it might be time to go treasure hunting. Let me drop a few tips before we wrap up. First, check your 1981 pennies for overall shine, color, and sharp detail. Look closely at the word Liberty and the numbers and the date. If they appear clear and crisp, you might have a Type 2 variety. Second, if the coin looks like it has never been touched and is free from dings or scratches, it could be worth grading. And third, always research recent auction results and prices. Sites like Heritage Auctions, eBay, and PCG's Price Guide are great resources to compare values. In conclusion, this little coin is more than just 1 cent. It's a piece of American history, a rare collectible, and potentially a ticket to thousands of dollars. The 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny may seem ordinary, but in the right condition it can be extraordinarily valuable. Whether you are a collector, a casual hobbyist, or just someone curious about what that old coin in your pocket might be worth, keep your eyes open. You never know when you'll stumble upon something amazing. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin videos, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare penny or want me to cover a specific year or variety in the next video. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck hunting for treasure in your change. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story behind one of the most incredible modern coin discoveries in United States history, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, right? But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 1982 penny sold for a staggering $70,685? That's right, $70,000 for 1 single cent. So what makes this coin so special? What is its history? Why is it worth so much? And how can you check if you have one hiding in your own pocket change? Make sure you stick around till the end, because you could be holding on to a small fortune without even knowing it. Let's go back to 1982. This was a year of major transition for the United States Mint when it came to the production of the Lincoln cent. For decades, these pennies had been made mostly of copper, but in 1982, the Mint made a dramatic shift to a copper-coated zinc composition. Why the change? Because copper prices had risen significantly, and the cost of producing a 1 cent coin was starting to exceed its face value. So to cut costs, the Mint switched from a 95% copper composition to a new core made of 99.2% zinc and only 0.8% copper as a plating. But here's where things get interesting. In 1982, the Mint actually produced pennies with both compositions. Yes, you heard that right. There are 7 different varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent. These include both large and small date versions in both copper and zinc compositions, and from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But one variety stands out far above the rest: the 1982 no mint mark small date made from copper. This is the unicorn of modern pennies, and here's why. Most small date coins with no mint mark from 1982 were struck in zinc. Very few were accidentally struck on the older copper planchets, and that's what makes this specific coin so valuable. It is not just about rarity. It is about a minting error that resulted in a transitional variety that was never supposed to exist. Now, you may be wondering, how can you tell if you have a 1982 small date penny and whether it is copper or zinc? Let's break it down first. The weight test: copper pennies from before the changeover weigh around 3.11 grams. Zinc pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. If you have a 1982 small date penny with no mint mark and it weighs approximately 3.1 grams, congratulations. You might be holding a super rare and valuable coin. Second, the visual test: small date versus large date. The easiest way to tell the difference is by looking at the number 2 in the date. In small date coins, the top of the number 2 is more curved and appears level with the other numbers. In large date coins, the 2 is taller and more straight. It might take a bit of practice and side-by-side comparison, But once you know what to look for, it becomes easier. Now let's talk about the jackpot. One example of the 1982 no mint mark copper small date penny sold for an unbelievable $70,685 at a public auction. That is not a myth, that is a documented sale that shocked even seasoned collectors. So what made this particular coin so valuable? It was authenticated and graded by a top third-party grading service. It was in superb condition, and its rarity as a transitional error made it one of the most sought-after. Modern Lincoln cents collectors were willing to pay top dollar for it. Now the big question: what is the current market value of the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny? Today prices can vary widely depending on the coin's condition and whether it is authenticated. If you find one and it turns out to be genuine, even in circulated condition, you could be looking at hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If it's in mint state or certified by a professional grading company, you could easily be looking at five figures, and who knows, if yours is in exceptional condition, you might even break that $70,000 record. Here is the takeaway: always check your pocket change, always pay attention to older coins, especially those from 1982. If you come across a 1982 penny with no mint mark, weigh it and examine the date style. If it matches the rare small date copper type, you could be in possession of one of the most valuable pennies ever struck in the modern era. And remember, this coin wasn't discovered by a professional collector, it was found by someone like you, just going through their spare change. That is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Hidden treasures are out there, and sometimes they are hiding in plain sight. So what do you think? Have you ever found a rare coin in your pocket change? Are you going to start looking a little more closely at your coins from now on? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content just like this. I'll be covering more rare coins and valuable finds in upcoming videos, so hit that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in American coin history, the 1981 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Yes, you heard that right. That little copper penny you might have in your change jar or hidden in an old coin collection could be worth a fortune. In fact, one rare example has recently been valued at a staggering $68,495. So, grab your magnifying glass, because you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Let's rewind a bit and set the scene. The year was 1981. Ronald Reagan had just taken office as President of the United States. MTV had launched its first broadcast, and across the country, millions of pennies were rolling off the minting presses. At the Denver Mint, identified by the small d mark under the date on the obverse of the coin, production was booming. Over 6 billion Lincoln cents were minted at the Denver facility that year. That's right, 6 billion with a beat it. Now, you might be wondering, with that many coins minted, how could any one of them possibly be rare or valuable? Great question. The truth is, not all 1981 D pennies are valuable, but a few very special ones are. And it all comes down to condition, errors, and transitional history. You see, 1981 was a turning point for the Lincoln cent. The U.S. Mint was preparing to transition from the traditional bronze composition, which was 95% copper and 5% zinc, to a new copper-plated zinc composition. This change was officially made in 1982 to reduce production costs due to the rising price of copper. But some experimental coins and test strikes may have occurred just before that change. Collectors believe some 1981 D pennies were struck using early planchets or dies that were part of that transition period. That's where things get interesting. Point one factor that can skyrocket the value of a 1981 D penny is a min error. These include double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. In rare cases, a coin might have a transitional metal composition, meaning it was struck using the new zinc core before it was officially released in 1982. Imagine finding a 1981 D penny that looks and feels different from the rest. That's the kind of anomaly collectors go crazy for. Let's talk about condition. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is king. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS, that's mint state, 65 or higher, is considered high quality, with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal flaws. If you happen to find a 1981 D penny in mint state condition, especially MS 67 or MS 68, you could be looking at a coin that's extremely desirable to collectors. But the crown jewel is the rare example that sold for over $68,000. This particular penny was not only in pristine condition, but also had characteristics that made it truly unique. Experts believe it was an early test strike, possibly with a transitional composition or a highly unusual die variety. That kind of coin is virtually impossible to find, but not entirely out of reach. They exist, and someone out there may unknowingly have one in their possession right now. So, how can you tell if your 1981 D penny is worth big bucks? First, look for the D mint mark beneath the date. Next, examine the color and surface. Copper pennies should have a warm reddish tone, but if you see a silvery or dull gray surface, it might be a zinc planchet. Weighing the coin is also helpful. A standard bronze penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while the newer copper-plated zinc ones weigh 2.5 grams. A significant difference in weight could indicate a transitional strike. Next, check for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a microscope to examine Lincoln's features, the lettering, and the rim. Double dies will show clear doubling in the letters and numbers. Off-center strikes will appear lopsided, and some errors can be incredibly obvious once you know what to look for. If you think you've found something unusual, the next step is to get your coin professionally graded and authenticated. Trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC can determine the grade and verify if it's a rare variety. A small investment in grading could turn your penny into a 5- or 6-figure payday. Now let's talk current market value. Most circulated 1981 D pennies are only worth face value, 1 cent, but uncirculated examples can sell for $1 to $5. If you get up into mint state 65, values jump to $20 or $30. But once you hit MS 67 and above, prices skyrocket. A flawless example can command thousands. And as we mentioned before, rare varieties or error coins have sold for tens of thousands, with the record holder reaching $68,495. So, what's the takeaway here? That penny in your change jar might be more than just pocket change. It could be a piece of American history, a collector's dream, and maybe even your ticket to a life-changing windfall. Always check your coins, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a simple Lincoln cent. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1981 D Lincoln penny, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting content, and ring the bell so you never miss a treasure hunting tip. Drop a comment below if you've got a rare coin story to share. We'd love to hear it. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next coin find be the jackpot you've been waiting for.